Doc Loves the Kids, a local Kitsap County nonprofit organization established in 2015 whose mission is to provide activities, programs, and community support for at-risk youth.
They put the U in community.
Doc Loves the Kids.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy,
where we give you the courtesy of conversation
that's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. Don't forget to like, listen, subscribe. Thanks to all our listeners. Don't forget to catch us at 1 p.m. Pacific time for our live town hall meeting where we cover all the stuff that we talked about throughout the week and things that are happening that day. And once again, appreciate all our listeners.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys, man. Keep on tuning in. Keep on engaging with us, showing us that, you know, where our faults are, where we do well. Let us know what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? We definitely trying to give you guys the news, and we also giving you our opinion like we always will.
Yes, and we like the constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
Smack talking. You guys don't know nothing. I know more than you. Yeah, we love it all. We love it all.
Absolutely. Let's start the show off, man. Obama faces backlash for comments towards black men. Former President Obama is drawing backlash for recent comments calling on black men to turn out for Vice President Harris in November's election. At a campaign stunt for Harris on Thursday in Pittsburgh, Obama said that despite Harris raising upward of $1 billion, we have not yet seen the same kind of energy and turnout in all the quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. The lag in energy, he added, appears to be more pronounced with the brothers. You're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that, he said, because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. Despite polls showing a generational divide in black men's support for Harris, Obama's remarks have drawn the ire of several prominent black Americans. So in my eyes, man, I see that too. I'm not going to say exactly how he said it, but I have seen a lot of black men, speak out against Harris. Yeah. I haven't seen a lot speak out in support of. I'm not saying they won't vote for her. I think that we're going to vote for her. You know what I mean?
I was talking to my coworker about it because, I give him rides home. We talk about it sometimes. And I was like, look, bro, I don't really like Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump. Because at the end of the day, I don't have a place in Donald Trump's America.
What don't you like about her?
About Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
I just don't trust her. She be talking, you know what I'm saying? It's cool to code switch. I understand that. But, I don't know who she really is. I mean, she seems cool. And, I look at it like this. If it's between democracy and a dictatorship, I'm going to vote for democracy.
I think that's the downside of her not really having a long primary. And then the first primary that she wasn't in it for a very, very long time. She didn't make it past, I think, the Idaho.
But, also, it's like people are like...
Iowa.
That's one thing I don't like about Democratic nominees and the Democratic Party or people that claim to be Democrats. They want this perfect person. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this person has to be perfect. Dot your I's, dot your T's. The other dude's crazy. He's senile. He's going to enact laws that are going to get rid of black people. All minorities out of this country are going to be gone. Let's just keep it real. You think that you're going to sit back and watch them take all these brown migrants out the country and they'd be like, good job, Tito. You know what I'm saying? No.
I'm not going to say that.
They're going to get rid of all of us. I don't want to be under
very,
a
very
dictator.
difficult for them to get rid of all of us. This is what
yeah. Oh, I mean, some will get to stay.
We are the number two.
They'd be like, put some gold on them
behind
chains.
German Americans, people who are from Germany. We're the number two race of people in this country. People think that it's
a lot of free labor. That's all I hear.
No, people think that it's white, but white is not a race. That's just not a race of people at all. You know what I mean? So in all honesty, I got a chart that I could put up. You know what I mean? Not on this show, but I'll probably put it up on a few of our. Check out our Instagram. Check out our Facebook. I'll try to put that chart up there, and it shows black Americans. We're number two, man. We're really there's a lot of black Americans in this country.
I can see why Barack Obama came out, and then when I see other black folks and they're like, oh, well, I'm voting for Trump, and I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? They don't have a good reason. I mean, if you see his policies and all the people behind his policies, he really doesn't have anything catered towards us or for us. Most of the laws are going to be against us. But also the Democrats haven't made anything better for themselves because they don't do anything for us. They come around at election time, play the saxophone, dance, whip out some hot sauce.
I disagree in full and wholeheartedly. We have to look at you look at what Barack Obama did during his tenure as president.
Yeah.
He started us on our path to universal health care. That's a lot. That's done a lot for people in general.
See, every time we talk about this, you can always bring up stuff that's for everyone.
Okay, I mean, but you got to remember what the same thing that this is a comment that Kamala said.
Why can't I have something? Every other race gets to have something. Why can't I have something?
This is a comment. I mean, we're looking for something more than, if you're talking about black people, I'm always looking for something more than just a hate crime bill. Give me something that's going to actually pertain to my pockets.
They make laws for everybody else.
But let me say this.
Why we got to be on the back burner?
Kamala Harris made this comment. She said anything we do for black people is for all Americans already. I mean, because whatever benefits black Americans benefits all Americans. So I understand that anything that benefits the lower population of people, because just right now, not trying to say we're lower than anyone, because we're not, but on the economic scale, we are at the bottom. So anything that benefits the bottom part of America benefits black Americans.
So how about this?
Let me finish.
I'll let you finish.
Okay. And then let's jump ahead to to Joe Biden and the laws that he created, the infrastructure laws. That's a huge infrastructure bill, spending over $1 trillion on infrastructure projects across the United States, which will benefit working class people who are black people at the same time. Put money into different forms of child care. I think he extended the child care tax credit, which helped black people. I mean, there's a lot of things that Democrats do for people. I mean, they also tried to pass a bill that would have made child care a right, that would have made sure that every American, all Americans had child care for free. You know what I mean? But lost by one vote.
Well, how about this? How about, we can keep going. Black folks are going right now, how about we just not vote this time? How about we just let the...
Think about that. Think about what you're saying right there.
Think about this. Black people are that's why they come and pray. They come and pander to us because they know our votes can sway an election. Absolutely. How about we just not vote for them? We give the country back to Donald Trump, and everybody can be fucked.
Who do you think it hurts more?
Everyone.
Let's be real. I don't know.
If all these laws are for everyone, then all the consequences should be for everyone.
Them swinging the Supreme Court hurt black Americans more than anything. Wait till he gets back in, he does stop and frisk. Who's that going to hurt? Wait till he starts doing this whole entire thing when he does they don't do stop and frisk. It's illegal. It's illegal, but they still do it. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly. But
they don't do it legally, is what I'm saying.
But they still do it.
Nah, not the same type. Okay, it's like this. If I did it 1,000 times a day legally versus 50 times a day illegally, which one hurts you more? Let's think about that, because they're not doing it 1,000 times a day because they understand that most of these are going to get tossed out. They're still doing it, but it just doesn't make sense. Okay, now they wait till they come up with the migrant laws where they're going to come in here and try to deport all these migrants out the country.
Anyway, we ain't gonna get mixed up in it.
Who else is going to get? Yeah, we're going to get hit with that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Next thing, then he starts talking about immunity for police officers. Who's going to get hit with that? Then he starts talking about 1 day of just really being rough on everybody. Come on, getting rid of the Department of Education. Who's that going to hit? The inner city's the worst. Come on, man. We know the worse things get, especially with a man whose rhetoric is like his is, it's going to get way worse for us.
The whole thing is, you're saying that, right? Like, it's going to get way worse, but it's already worse.
It is bad, but it could get worse.
Worse.
It is bad, but it could
for
get
black
worse.
folks, that means a revolution for us.
Let's be serious here.
I'm being dead serious. The Democrat Party never comes around and does anything for black communities unless it's time for them to vote. They ignored Ice Cube, didn't even want to hear any of his plans for foundational black Americans. They said, we'll hear it after the election. They didn't even do it. At least Trump gave him an audience.
Ice Cube should have.
Trump gave him an audience. That's what I'm saying.
Should have had more of us behind him. I'm saying like this, look, if America, the Democrats don't want to help out, and that's why black people are upset. They ain't got to vote for Kamala Harris. They're like, why? What are you doing for me? It's not about what you did for me. It's what are you doing for me now? And I feel like
Breonna Taylor still ain't got justice.
We do a disservice to ourselves. We can name a 10,000
still ain't got no justice.
We can name like 10,000 other blacks that haven't got justice too. I agree with you.
So I can understand. You can bring out Barack Obama, but people ain't playing that Democratic shit where the people are like, oh, you're trying to scare us. No, we're already living in fear. We're already worried about what. Hey, I leave my house knowing I could die every day.
Now, who else got that feeling? I understand where you're coming from with this. I do.
I've been beat up by the police.
This is. I mean, me too.
You know what I'm saying?
Me too. When I was 16 years old. I mean, let's be real. But
I was 20.
Let me let me
walking down the
round
street.
this back real quick here. Okay, but in all honesty, this is how I look at life. Life is not. I saw this guy. I mean, he put out this video where he showed this kid. He put down pieces of paper, like 10 pieces of paper. Then he would take away 2 pieces of paper each time and tell the kid to like step from one to one to the other. And he was trying to show the kids like what's the benefit of having short-term goals to kind of get you to your long-term vision. You can't have, we got a long-term vision to get to where we're going. We have to make a plan to get there, but we need short-term goals in the process. And we've had them. Civil rights, we've had them by getting rid of slavery. We've had short-term goals to get us to where we're going. That's what I look at.
We're tired of the short-term goals, man. It's 2024.
I understand that, but somebody has to keep the vision going forward and understand where we're going.
Spirituals.
Nobody's saying we have to. Do you sing them?
I don't
sing them. You know what? I know a person who, I probably say 200 years ago.
Ain't you tired of being sick and tired?
200 years, trust me. But 200 years ago, it wouldn't have been possible for half the things I've done in with my life for a black man to do. No, that's why I understand those short-term goals and short-term successes do matter. That's all I'm saying about that. I'm not knocking you. I'm not against where you're coming from with this.
I'm not against what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
I agree with you, brother. Trust me. You think I don't want reparations for black people because I know they're owed to us. You think I don't want them to stop beating us in the streets, stop violating our civil rights? Trust me, I agree with you 110%.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm 42 years old. I watched Rodney King get his ass beat when I was 9 years old.
Me too.
And it ain't got no better.
I can't even watch certain movies, man. It's at a point in my life.
Do you even watch black slave movies anymore?
Period. No, it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing. I know that's a big word to use because I'm a man, but those are traumatizing to me because I can't watch that because it's gonna make me angry, and I don't want. I know right now I can't afford anger because that's what they want. But I'm just trying to tell you.
Like I'm saying, the only 2 black old movies I'll watch like that is Birth of a Nation, the Nat Turner story. And then the Django. And the Django ain't real, but it's hilarious.
It's funny, but I love certain parts of it I don't like.
Who made these masks? I can't see shit out these masks. My wife spent all day cutting them holes in them bags. Don't ask me in mine for nothing. That's my favorite scene.
No, don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, no, I agree with what you're saying. I'm not going to say that Democrats have done a stand-up job because Democrats have not always been for us. There was things called Dixiecrats. There was a time when Republicans were more on the side of black Americans. To me, it's all marriages of convenience. I'm not stuck with you. I just know that right now I got 60 senators. I got about 60 House of Representative members that are in the Democratic Party. I got votes there. I think I got 2 senators right now and maybe 2 more coming online. That'll be 4 senators, probably the most ever in history. Black senators in the U.S. Senate that are going to be coming on the Democrat side. That's why I look at it like that. I look at where's my power structure at. I had the first black president, first black Secretary of Defense. You know what I mean? Like, I understand where my power structure lies, and I vote for it because I understand that they are not a perfect party. A party does not change everything in America. They just set the groundwork for us to change it as people, and that's how I look at politics.
And this is the best time for black folks to put their foot down is during election year.
Absolutely,
because you know what happens if we don't put our foot down and we don't get nothing done before the election happens, they're going to wait another 4 years until they actually care about us. And then we're going to watch another George Floyd get killed in 8K this time.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen over and over again. And I agree with that. But my biggest thing is right here. We need to mobilize. We do not have a strong lobbyist party. We don't have a strong lobby at all. We're weak there. You look at what certain other people, you say they're getting this because they have a strong lobby. They have a destination to where they're going. They understand the steps to get to where they're going. We don't. We just show up to vote every 4 years and forget about the midterms and forget about the local elections. We got to stop doing that and get ourselves a strong lobby that makes sure they can walk into the room and say, get it done. You know what I mean? Period, plain and simple. But
that is true. On to another one. I want to do this one. Trump plans for mass deportation evokes 226-year-old law used to detain Japanese Americans. Donald Trump wants to immediately invoke a more than 200-year-old wartime law that grants the president unilateral authority to deploy federal law enforcement for rounding up and deporting immigrants as soon as he enters office. The former president, speaking from Aurora, Colorado on Friday, told supporters that he plans to revive the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which will give the president unprecedented ability to target foreigners for removal without a hearing or due process, based solely on their place of birth or citizenship. His Operation Aurora, named after the Colorado city he has degenerated as a war zone for migrant crimes, which also dispatched elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is no single one left in this country, he said.
Every single. This guy has already told us he
said,
wants to go back
hunt down, arrest, and deport. Keywords: hunt down.
He likes to use tough words like he's tough and he don't have a tough bone in his body.
And
we
the
all
police
looked
will
at
have
him.
immunity.
We've all saw him when he who did he line up against? I forget it was either one of those MMA fighters. I can't remember who it was exactly. Man, went in there wiggling around like a fish. You know what I mean? This guy's not tough. He hasn't had to do a tough thing in his entire life, except for probably file bankruptcy a few times. I'm not gonna say that's not tough. Probably is. I mean, let's be real here. We all understand. Like we sit back and right now we sound like Nazi Germany. We sound like we're blaming someone for something that's bad in our life. What's bad in our life right now? Inflation? Is inflation bad? Because I'm going to be real here. The biggest inflation that we have in our life right now is housing costs. That's probably the biggest, and food costs as well. Food costs as well. I'll give us that one. But housing costs, we understand that during the pandemic and right before that, when interest rates were really low, that's when housing costs, rent costs, everything started skyrocketing because everyone could buy a house and everyone had money. So rental prices and they were getting filled up. So rental prices went up through the roof as well. Who was president during that time? Okay, now let's go to food. We all understand that first time that anyone said anything about like making sure there's laws to bring down food prices, people start calling them communists. You know what I mean? Like, do we want people to step in and say, hey, you're charging $6 for this cheese that you should be charging $2 for because there's no reason for that extra $4 on there. You're like, oh, that's a communist thing. We don't want you doing that in this country. Well, they're beating us on the price. You know what I mean? And if no one steps in, if the government doesn't step in, who's going to do it? So do you want it or don't you want it?
I'm saying like this, bro. At this point, he could just be. I mean, they're saying the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, part of century-old Alien Sedition Act, drafted during an undeclared war between U.S. and France. He's going to use this to be like, well, if you're not a white American, like he's going to say, he's going to get rid of everybody. Everyone, I don't know why everybody's just thinking like he's just going to get rid of immigrants and we just going to sit there on our porch like, yep, you should have listened.
I think this is what I believe. This is my personal opinion. This is what I believe. I believe that he's going to go after people who are in the country illegally or even partially legally if they don't have full status. And he's trying to get rid of them because he understands he's trying to keep this nation a whiter nation. This is not. Let's just be real here. This is not German or a British or a French nation. You know what I mean? We don't want to, we clumped all you guys together, but in reality, you guys clumped yourselves together because you're afraid to be minorities. That's the fact. You're really a bunch of minority groups that push yourselves together and said, oh, well, we're all one thing, but you're just not. But I think that the biggest thing with us, there's no way where are we going to go? Where are we going? They're not. Listen, they'll pull us out of here by over. You know what they say over our cold. Put up like pulling guns out of your cold dead hands.
I'll tell you exactly where they're gonna put them.
Where?
Back in slavery.
No black. I'm not going. You going back to slavery?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody. I ain't never been in slavery. I don't know me personally, but I know my ancestors have been.
What do you think prison is? They'll just lock you up. They'll be like, hey, they'll say, hey, you're aiding and abetting. Because you made a post online, you're aiding and abetting immigrants, so we're gonna lock you up.
I think that
we're gonna lock you up. Hey, this neighborhood has all immigrants in it. We can't tell them apart because I don't know if they're Somali or American.
Hey, what you're saying right there, I agree.
Bro,
they locked
up. Remember, they locked up the Japanese Americans. That's how they took Bainbridge Island.
I agree with that part right there. What you're saying, they're gonna go after. That's the same thing I said earlier about why we need to vote. It's like because I believe they will start opening doors and saying, oh, we can run in your house because we think that this is going on here. I believe that part.
Hey, you don't like what I'm saying as a president?
50 million black people. If there's not over 50 million black people in this country, it's going to be a very difficult time to start rounding us up and stopping us. Man,
everybody got guns. I ain't going back.
Everybody got guns, man. Back. Like you said, everybody got guns, bro.
Everybody got guns. They stopped making guns when they made yours. I'm just saying, that's what's going to happen.
It's not a threat of anything, but if people start talking about you're going to go into the end, we're going to put you in these internment camps, and we start seeing things that are funny going on, I think that's when people will start looking at life a little bit different and start talking about revolution and things of that nature. But I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet.
Shoot, man,
let's see how the vote turns out and let's see what happens.
They set it up. I'm telling everybody, you better
see who I'm voting for. That's why I don't sit back and talk about who's not doing what and how things aren't going. When I see that we're so close to being able to, we're so close to being able to say we're about to have universal child care for all Americans. Man, think about that. That's huge.
Yep.
That's what type of stuff Democrats do.
Or we can have a king.
That's the kind of stuff Democrats do.
We can have a mad king.
You know what I mean?
Or we can have democracy.
Or we can have $25,000 for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of stuff Democrats do.
And what I've been saying the whole time, check it out. They didn't arrest the people trying to overthrow the government. Those people are still running the government, trying to run it to the ground. And the number one co-conspirator of it has a 50-50 chance of being president. America is over.
And that's is why I look at life and I pick the side and I say it's a marriage of convenience because I understand what I see factually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here,
on to another one. I want to do this one. Trump plans for mass deportation, invokes 226-year-old law used to detain Japanese Americans. Donald Trump wants to immediately invoke a more than 200-year-old wartime law that grants the president unilateral authority to deploy federal law enforcement for rounding up and deporting immigrants as soon as he enters office. The former president, speaking in from Aurora, Colorado on Friday, told supporters that he plans to revive the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which will give the president unprecedented ability to target foreigners for removal without a hearing or due process, based solely on their place of birth or citizenship. His Operation Aurora, named after the Colorado city he has degenerated as a war zone for migrant crimes, which also dispatched elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is no single one left in this country, he said.
Every single, this guy has already told us he wants to go back
hunt down, arrest, and deport. Keywords: hunt down.
He likes to use tough words like he's tough and he don't have a tough bone in his body.
And
we
the
all
police
looked at
have
him.
immunity.
We've all saw him when he who did he line up against? I forget is either one of those MMA fighters. I can't remember who it was exactly. Man, went in there wiggling around like a fish. You know what I mean? This guy's not tough. He hasn't had to do a tough thing in his entire life, except for probably file bankruptcy a few times. I'm not gonna say that's not tough. Probably is. I mean, let's be real here. We all understand. Like we sit back and right now we sound like Nazi Germany. We sound like we're blaming someone for something that's bad in our life. What's bad in our life right now? Inflation? Is inflation bad? Because I'm going to be real here. The biggest inflation that we have in our life right now is housing costs. That's probably the biggest, and food costs as well. Food costs as well. I'll give us that one. But housing costs, we understand that during the pandemic and right before that, when interest rates were really low, that's when housing costs, rent costs, everything started skyrocketing because everyone could buy a house and everyone had money. So rental prices and they were getting filled up. So rental prices went up through the roof as well. Who was president during that time? Okay, now let's go to food. We all understand that first time that anyone said anything about like making sure there's laws to bring down food prices, people start calling them communists. You know what I mean? Like, do we want people to step in and say, hey, you're charging $6 for this cheese that you should be charging $2 for because there's no reason for that extra $4 on there. You're like, oh, that's a communist thing. We don't want you doing that in this country. Well, they're beating us on the price. You know what I mean? And if no one steps in, if the government doesn't step in, who's going to do it? So do you want it or don't you want it?
I'm saying like this, bro. At this point, he could just be, they're saying the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, part of century-old Alien Sedition Act drafted during an undeclared war between U.S. and France. He's going to use this to be like, well, if you're not a white American, like he's going to say, he's going to get rid of everybody. I don't know why everybody's just thinking like he's just going to get rid of immigrants and we're just going to sit there on our porch you should have listened.
I think this is what I believe. This is my personal opinion. This is what I believe. I believe that he's going to go after people who are in the country illegally or even partially legally if they don't have full status. He's trying to get rid of them because he understands he's trying to keep this nation a whiter nation. This is not everybody. Let's just be real here. This is not German or a British or a French nation. You know what I mean? We don't want to. We clumped all you guys together, but in reality, you guys clumped yourselves together because you were afraid to be minorities. That's the fact. You're really a bunch of minority groups that push yourselves together and said, oh, well, we're all one thing, but you're just not. But I think that the biggest thing with us, there's no way. Where are we gonna go? Where are we going? They're not. Listen, they'll pull us out of here by over. You know what they say over our cold. Put up like pulling guns out of your cold dead hands.
I'll tell you exactly where they're gonna put them.
Where?
Back in slavery.
No black. I'm not going. You going back to slavery?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody. I ain't never been in slavery. I don't know. Me personally, but I know my ancestors have been.
What do you think prison is? They'll just lock you up. They'll be like, hey, they'll say, hey, you're aiding and abetting, because you made a post online, you're aiding and abetting immigrants, so we're going to lock you up.
I think that
we're gonna lock you up. Hey, this neighborhood has all immigrants in it. We can't tell them apart because I don't know if they're Somali or American.
Hey, what you're saying right there, I agree. Bro,
they locked up. Remember, they locked up the Japanese Americans. That's how they took Bainbridge Island.
I agree with that part right there. What you're saying, they're gonna go after. That's the same thing I said earlier about why we need to vote. It's like because I believe they will start opening doors and saying, "Oh, we can run in your house because we think that this is going on here." I believe that part.
Hey, you don't like what I'm saying as a president?
50 million black people. If there's not over 50 million black people in this country, it's going to be a very difficult time to start rounding us up and stopping us. Man, we got
everybody got. Cause I ain't going back.
Everybody got guns, man. Like you said, everybody got guns, bro.
Everybody got guns. They ain't stopped making guns when they made yours. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen.
It's not a threat of anything, but if people start talking about you're going to go into the end, we're going to put you in these internment camps, and we start seeing things that are funny going on, I think people that's when people will start looking at life a little bit different and start talking about revolution and things of that nature. But I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet.
Shoot, man,
let's see how the vote turns out, and let's see what happens.
They set it up. I'm telling everybody, you better
see who I'm voting for. That's why I don't sit back and talk about who's not doing what and how things aren't going. When I see that we're so close to being able to, we're so close to being able to say we're about to have universal child care for all Americans. Man, think about that. That's huge.
Yep.
That's what type of stuff Democrats do.
Or we can have a king.
That's the kind of stuff Democrats do.
We can have a mad king.
You know what I mean?
Or we can have democracy.
Or we can have $25,000 for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of stuff Democrats do.
And what I've been saying the whole time, check it out. They didn't arrest the people trying to overthrow the government. Those people are still running the government, trying to run it to the ground. And the number one co-conspirator of it has a 50-50 chance of being president. America is over.
And that's why I look at life and I pick the side and I say it's a marriage of convenience because I understand what I see factually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But TD Bank pleads guilty in money laundering case, will pay $3 billion in penalties. TD Bank pleaded guilty Thursday to multiple criminal charges and agreed to pay a whopping $3 billion in fines and other penalties to the Department of Justice and financial regulators for failing to monitor money laundering by drug traffickers and other criminals. As part of the deal, TD Bank, whose U.S. unit is the 10th largest American bank by assets, will also have limits to its growth imposed by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. The total assets of TD Bank, two U.S. banking subsidiaries, will be barred from exceeding $434 billion under their restriction. The restrictions are similar to those imposed by the Federal Reserve on Wells Fargo in 2018 over what Federal Reserve called widespread consumer abuses at the bank. By making its services convenient for criminals, TD Bank became one, said Attorney General Merrick Garland on Thursday. I mean, I think this kind of stuff is rampant.
Remember what you just said about the J.P. Morgan. Remember that? The $1.3 billion of cocaine bust.
Wasn't like 20-some. It was crazy. They found a lot.
20 tons. Yeah, seized 20 tons of cocaine on board. And then they blamed, they didn't even blame the captain. They blamed some other dude that wasn't even on the boat. He got dropped off at the port before, like he forgot his cocaine.
The 20 tons of it. You know what I mean? Like,
and it took them months. They made that story go away before they even charged anybody.
There are several other banks that's been charged with this money laundering stuff too. I mean, we all know what happened. They said they built Miami off drug money. Let's be real here. You know what I mean? This country runs off drug money. If the drug money was dropped out of this country right now, we're going to a recession. That's what kept us, afloat during the recession. Was drug money. So let's be real here. You know what I mean? Like, these banks are criminal units, and these same banks like Wells Fargo, they talk about widespread abuses. One of them was not giving loans to black people or charging us more in interest than they would charge the same exact, everyone had to,
and they have documented cases of that. They had the one black family, they had the people come in and they, gave them an estimate on their home and it was low. Then they had someone else come in, they took all the pictures off the wall of black folks. Had their white friend up there, and they made the house more
in value. I heard about that one too, man. This is why we talk about reparations. This is why we talk about redlining. This is why we talk about, we understand there is I don't even like to say privilege or anything like that. There's an inherent disproportionate inequity in this country when it comes to black people and anyone else in this country.
I think these banks I think the banks are they need to be regulated more. Think about it. Like, when the financial crisis happened, it was because of the banks. We gave the banks money. Think about it. Bank of America was charging people for not having so much money in their bank.
They still do.
Think about it. I think they made like almost $1 billion.
Yeah, and just fees and things like that.
Think about it. They robbed people that didn't have money.
I mean, they also charge you if your bank goes into overdraft, even though you got to pay it back. It's like $35 every single time. They do this all the time.
My bank waives it.
Do you know what I would honestly?
My bank waives a lot of fees. So I like my bank.
No, people do that, but a lot of banks do if you ask. You know what?
Wells Fargo's the gangster.
How I feel about the whole thing is this right here. When I talk about reparations, I look at reparations from this standpoint. It's not about just money for black people. I wouldn't even want them to give individual black people money. I want them to give it to us as a collective, and then start helping us help us create banks for ourselves. Not only that, give us a few seats on the Federal Reserve as well. I'd like some seats on that for black people, for black banks especially.
Bro, if they gave me the money, I'm buying a piece of South America and getting the fuck out of here.
No, I don't. Listen, I don't want them to give us money. I want our money to be more like.
Whoa!
I want our money to be like as almost like a hedge fund where it's put into a hedge fund, and it can be dispersed out and then made into a bigger fund for all of us, where we can almost receive stipends like the Native Americans do for the rest of our lives, for generations and generations and generations to come. And we can go to those same banks and get bank loans with lower interest rates and be able to go buy property, start businesses. That's how you do it.
Can we all have a choice? Like, hey, do you want?
I think we should all go in as one.
Or
I think we should all go in as one. That's just I have a whole entire. I'm not saying it's a perfect one because I'm not a financial.
You should write that up and tell it to the people. They probably like to hear it. But I mean, I'll take the money. I was give it to my family. They should give it to the family.
I think we should.
Or individuals.
If they gave it to us, I mean, they're talking about. But this is getting off subject.
You see people when they go to like their work, and all 5 of the people in their work go like put money down on a lotto ticket, and then they win, and that one person got the ticket in their hand. They take off. It's happened multiple times.
That's D-Mac right there.
But when going back to the banks, bro, I always tell people, the worst bank is Wells Fargo. And I always tell people, I'm like, well, look at their logo. It's a stagecoach. That's how old school they are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got homeboy up there with the shotgun.
They've been around
for
a long time, since the 1800s or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like one of the first banks, bro.
It's ridiculous.
And it's a stagecoach is their mother. I mean, you should know they're going to rob you.
I mean, you look at TD Bank. I almost want to say, I wonder if I'm not sure if that's the same thing as TD or Ameritrade. I almost want to say it is because the logo looks really similar. But these guys, man, it's just crazy. Like right now, they're giving them a $3 billion penalty. So imagine how much money that they were able to make off this, because you know how banks work. Okay, you put money in a bank account. Now banks they have a thing called the LIBOR. It's like the overnight like kind of lending. Like this is how much the bank can lend it for, and how much money what percentage they can lend money out to people for.
Yeah.
So if I say you put in $1,000 into a bank account, right? A bank can now go and lend out $10,000 off of your $1,000. So imagine if drug dealers put in $10 billion, $20 billion in this bank account. They're blending out hundreds of billions of dollars off that. Now you're going to go tell them, oh, you got to give us back $3 billion. It's nothing. They're like,
that's
yeah, cool.
That's it.
I ain't tripping. I'm going to give you this $3 billion, man. And now you got to do this. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do now is go get another subsidiary and off this bank that I got now and start a whole nother one and do the same goddamn thing over again. We already got 10 of them set up already, bro. Off of this because we kind of knew you had us a while ago. You know what I'm saying?
They're like, what $3 billion? That's
I already took my money. We're good. They'll say we done burnt this out. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to wait till the next administration come in and they're going to go ahead and knock this off of us anyways. We'll be right back to doing business, man.
Just keep it in courts for a while and shit. But Donald Trump, you good? You're like, yeah.
Don't worry about a thing. Let me pass this over.
Like, just give me a little donation of $500,000.
Wait till there's another hurricane. We'll go ahead and pass this on as news. Oh yeah. TD Bank has now paid its fine. Is no longer under penalties, man.
I want to do this one really quick. Let's go foreign now.
Okay.
Israel's firing on UN peacekeepers in Lebanon raises international alarms. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin pressed his Israel counterparts to take steps to prevent IDF soldiers from firing on UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon, the Pentagon said on Friday, while 3 European leaders issued a joint statement condemning Israel's attack. Israel troops wounded 4 members of the UN intern force in southern Lebanon in 2 separate incidents on Thursday and Friday, sparking strong international backlash and raising additional scrutiny on its ground operations in the area. 2 peacekeepers were injured Thursday when an Israel tank fired at their position, while 2 more were injured Friday in an explosion near an observation tower. So they fired on them on purpose. They told them to get out. They're like, no, we're UN peacekeepers. We're going to wait here. And they're like, nah. Boom!
Get up out of here.
Shot at them.
I mean, remember they killed the people from the World Kitchen, man. Come on, man.
They blew them up. Look, they shot an American citizen.
They've killed more
they're
journalists,
prisoners.
They've killed more journalists, peacekeepers than anything, man. These dudes, this is not Netanyahu. This is Israel at this point in time. This is your government. This is like people are going to blame. I would have to blame our government if we did shit like this. But anybody would. You know what I mean? This is who you guys are. You guys are monsters over there, pretty much. You should be treated as such. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion. Over 40.
Charleston White, he came out. He was like, he's like, up them. He said, "Uck them," right? Like 2 days ago. And so they arrested him. They arrested him for a video that shows, it says he's, it's been on the internet for years, but it's a video of him macing a cat. Right? He's like, oh, there's a cat, and he's acting like he's macing it. You never see the cat get sprayed with mace. It's just a video. But they arrested him for that yesterday.
You understand, man, what this is about.
With. Yeah.
We're dealing with somebody who basically runs our country, a foreign entity, a foreign government that runs our country, that half of them are probably not even really from the Middle East. I'm sorry, they're really not. They're
from Poland usually.
There's a lot of different versions of Jews. As we should look them up, and they won't even, a lot of them, they don't even allow the black Jews who are from Africa to come back to Israel, when even though it's supposed to be every Jew supposed to have the right to return. Now, you guys had that law, but you wouldn't let the blacks, and you're telling the blacks to leave. It happens with everybody. I'm not going to say the Jews are the only one doing this. Palestinians have done it as well. In Gaza, they've done the same exact thing. They created areas where blacks can only be in, things of that nature. But it's just, to me, you've killed 40-something thousand people in Gaza that we know of, injured over 100,000 more. Like severely injured. Arms, legs, babies, little kids, eyes, whatever else. They haven't been to school in over a year plus, going on 2 years now. You set these people back. You're basically turning them into animals because they're not going to understand life. They're not going to have, there's no destiny in that. You've blown up schools. You're blowing up schools now, killing people inside the schools, killing like 30, 40 people a day right now, blowing up places where you're telling them to go to, and then you're blowing it up.
And we're seeing the videos.
Everybody's seeing the videos.
Yeah.
Daily. Everybody's seeing this stuff, man. Like, you think that we don't see? You're sitting here telling Lebanon, we're going to turn you into Gaza. Look what we did to Gaza. Yeah, let's be real. We understand what you did to Gaza too. No one's going to ever forget this. This empire will not always stand. They know this. They're very, very smart people. They plan ahead. Don't get me wrong. They plan ahead. Start looking at projections of what economic powers are going to be in power in 2050, 2075. It sounds like a long time, but it's not. Just like 1990 sounds like a long time ago. Think about it. It's about the same time frame, pretty much, from there to there.
Yeah.
So we're headed in that direction.
And their whole, there's a lot of their stuff. It's not working anymore. You can't call people anti-Semitic because we know you just use that to stop us from calling out your stuff. And so, it's sad at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's a nothing burger. Because they're not going to do nothing.
No one's going to do anything about it, man.
Actually, there's a lady that came in, and she was American, and she said, she was over there at the UN, and she said they're going to stop supplying Israel with weapons.
They should, but I don't right now, until this election's over, and even then, because I don't see Joe Biden doing it. He's just talking. And I hopefully Kamala Harris steps up and stops allowing.
They got to wait until after the election. They can't do it right now because there'll be a media blitz on them.
Oh, yeah, it'd be crazy.
Because they own the media.
They own the media. They own politicians. Everyone would turn against them. It would be the worst PR you could possibly do. Right now, you would lose the House. You would lose the Senate. Some people are willing to say, so what? But at the end of the day, if you lose them, who do you think you're going to get next? What do you think is going to be allowed to happen after that?
Yeah,
we're going to be a full all-out war.
My apologies. The Spanish Prime Minister urges international communities to stop arming Israel.
People have been talking about this for a minute.
I believe
European countries have more guts.
In the light of everything that's happened in the Middle East, the international community stops exporting weapons to the government of Israel. And, it's crazy. They came out with another article. They're like, look, they're sending so many bombs to Israel, we won't have enough to defend ourselves against China.
Why are we sending all these bombs to Israel for them to blow up people who don't even have armies?
And the whole thing, if we just stop, we could stop. And that's the whole thing. America could stop the genocide. We're not sending you nothing.
And then he's going to come out and say, you're not backing up Israel in our fight for this. Remember he came out, Netanyahu came out, oh, look at Joe Biden. They didn't send you one shipment of 2,000-pound bombs where you're sitting in here killing kids with. To me, man.
Yeah, at this point, you're not defending yourself. This
is not a war.
Ukraine was defending itself. I'll give them that. They were defending themselves from Russia.
Yeah.
They leveled a whole city of innocent civilians and they used the same thing. Well, if one of them did it, they all did it.
And they're hiding it. They're all there. They say the same thing. They're
hiding in between them. They were hiding. Man. They were using the hospital as a
base. Walk in there with troops and get it done. You guys got the troops. They don't even have an army. These people don't even have an army. They probably even got suits. You know what I mean? So messed up, man. I was looking at, they had a thing online, right, where you saw the North Korean and South Korean troops some people met at the border, right, and they're shaking hands. And the stark difference between the two was One of the sides, they had on black jackets or whatever that is. They had a bulletproof vest, all kind of stuff. They was fully geared and armed up. The other side just had on old Russian coats, look like that's it, with hats on. Like the other people had on helmets and everything else. They were fully geared up. They're probably looking at each other like, damn, they don't give a fuck about us, bro. Look at y'all.
He's like, what's that smell? He's like, it's a cheeseburger. Like, what's that?
You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference, man. That's the point here. You guys got everything. These little dudes are not even. They're basically. This isn't a war, man. We got to stop.
They shook their hands and they licked that. Oh yeah, it's been a while since I had some rice. Shit. That's delicious.
You know what I mean? Like, well, how much y'all get paid again? You know what I'm saying? We ain't been paid.
They feed you too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude was ready to run across the border with him. Like, he looked at his partners like,
he was like,
this
hey,
is crazy. He's like,
just take off that dirty jacket. This one.
He's like, man, we don't even. He's like, these dudes got bulletproof vests, everything, bro. They don't care about us at all. We get hit anywhere, we're dead. You know what I mean? Pretty much. This is how I was looking at it. But I'm just saying. But back to the subject. The point of it is, man, is like they're fighting. They're attacking like unarmed civilians at this point in time, blowing up schools, doing the same thing in Lebanon. They've already killed over, I think, 2,000-3,000 people in Lebanon already. You know what I mean? Like you're fighting against a group right now who will make any excuse to continue this war on.
It's the best time right now for the Middle East to actually fight back.
I hope they do, man.
America is too scared to stop Israel, but it'd be worse if America started sending troops to the Middle East right before an election. So the Middle East can do what they need to do.
I mean, you know, honestly, they would do it, bro. They'd have to do it because if you left the people out who own the media, you left them to dry or left them defend for themselves right now, it would look really bad to the rest of the world who are your allies. Like, damn, you left them out.
The rest of the world's looking. They already see. They've seen the horror. You can't play that mess no more. They can't do that no more. We see what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's over. It's over.
They got nukes though too, man. They're not about to let themselves get overran.
Who got
Doesn't
nukes?
matter.
Israel?
Yeah.
Oh.
They got like 90 nukes, man.
I'm surprised they ain't dropped one yet.
I mean, they understand you drop a nuke, it changes everything.
Well, I mean, they can't drop a nuke because they want to take the land.
I mean, that's
the whole thing. They want to use the land later.
Let me
Go
hit
ahead.
this.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, okay. Unconfirmed reports. Quds Force commander suffers heart attack during interrogation. An unconfirmed report from Sky News Arabic claims the top commander of Iran's Quds Force, Ismail Qani, suffered a heart attack during an interrogation conducted by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps over his potential involvement in Israel's assassination of Hezbollah's chief Hassan Nasrallah late last month. Rumors about Qani have swirled since the assassination of Nasrallah, since he has not been seen publicly. So this guy right here, basically, they're saying this guy is the person who took over from Soleimani when he was killed by Trump in Iraq. He's like basically the head of Iran's military. And so what's been going on is that, I mean, Iran feel like they have a mole in their military because you look at when what was that guy Hayani, the one who was killed, who was Hamas's leader, who had the bomb that blew up over in
the room he was in.
Yeah, in Iran. They said that the the Islamic Revolutionary Guard was the one protecting him, and he runs the Revolutionary Guard. He's the head of it. Boom, they kill him. Then all of a sudden they kill Nasrallah. He was the leader of Hezbollah. You know what I mean? Like boom. Then all of a sudden Kiani, he's like, okay, man, go fly over to Lebanon and check on the second guy.
Remember, homeboy from Hezbollah got killed real quick too.
Right after,
like 2 weeks.
Yeah, right after that happened. Like, he came out, talked a couple times, he shot some bombs, and that was it. He was dead. Then look, they had the second in command, the guy who was supposed to take his place, because Hezbollah is like their big dogs. Out of all their axes of evil, out of the Hamas, out of Hezbollah, and out of the Houthis, Hezbollah is the strongest one. They got the most missiles, they got the most troops, everything. They're the ones that are in Lebanon. So Kiani was supposed to go over to Lebanon and talk to the second in command, and he went over there and they set up a meeting for him to meet with all senior Hezbollah leaders, and he was supposed to be at this meeting. Then all of a sudden, right before the meeting, he calls in like, "Hey man, I can't make the meeting," and so he don't go to the meeting. Guess what happens at that meeting? It gets blown up by Israel, and then the second in command dies, and a bunch of their senior leadership dies at that meeting.
He's like,
he goes underground for a while.
But what time y'all gonna be there? Like everybody gonna be there. I just want to know so I can send a pizza or something.
just send some welcoming gifts to everybody. So then he goes underground for a while, and everyone thinks he's dead because they thought he was going to be at that meeting, but he wasn't. So now all of a sudden he appears back in Iran, and then now they're like, man, it's got to be you the rat. They're like, you got to be the rat because the feds that came. It's like when Boston George at the end of what was the movie Blow, when he was sitting with his partners and the doors kicked open after they had just made the big exchange
at
for
the end of it. He's like, where's my knife? He's like, all right. He's like, bring him in.
You know what I'm saying? Then they busted in. So basically, they came, they brought him in for an interrogation, and they're saying during this interrogation, he ends up having a heart attack because he probably was shook up. You know what I mean? He's probably like, I didn't do anything, but I don't know if he did something or not. But it does seem real suspicious, bruh, that you wasn't at the meeting when you set the meeting with them, and everybody gonna be there. Everybody, Junebug and everybody gonna be there. He said, yeah, and you ain't at the meeting.
Y'all gonna be there at 4:45.
And everybody dies but you. Yeah, it seems kind of suspicious, buddy. And so, yeah, they're saying he had a heart attack, man. But we will definitely check more into this and see what happens. But
we're going to keep you guys up to date on everything we're doing. Don't forget to catch us 1 p.m. every Sunday, Pacific time. Town hall. I'd like to call that. It's a town. We should call it
a town hall.
Town hall discussion, man. I like that. Last week it froze up on us, but we have people in there. Come join us. We're there all the time. Catch us also on BCAT. We got a little show on there, Uncommon Courtesy, local edition.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to give the information to the people, man. It's Uncommon Courtesy. We're gonna see y'all next time.